everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today for my session where I'm going to show you how you can supercharge your productivity and protect your time. Now, my name is Zoe Wilson. I work at a UK Microsoft partner called Agilities Limited, and I'm the head of collaboration and productivity. I work in our modern work business unit, so that's all things Microsoft 365. And some of the things that I'm going to show you today involve the tools that are in the Microsoft 365 platform. However, there are some really key principles that you can apply even if you're using other productivity tools. Now, I'd love for you to reach out to me. My Twitter handle is SharePoint_Zoe. Go and give me a follow. And you can also go and have a look at my blog as well, zoe-365.com. Now, I think it's fair to say over the last 12 months, we've all experienced a lot more virtual meetings with the move to working from home. And it's also completely fair to say that meeting virtually is not natural. When you meet virtually, it uses a different part of your brain to concentrate, and the amount of mental effort to be able to keep concentration and remain engaged is just absolutely phenomenal. And what this leads to is brain drain. The sustaining that level of concentration and switching focus from back-to-back meetings, over time, it just absolutely drains your mental creativity. So protecting your time is really, really important. Now, over the last 12 months, the statistics show remote working has seen our virtual meetings increase in number, in frequency, virtual meetings increase in length, and they increase in complexity as well. And what we mean by complexity is, the number of people that need to be managed, the number of attendees. Typically, the stats show that meetings now have more people on them than ever. And this can make it really difficult to actually have an effective meeting or reach a decision effectively. And if you look at the GIF that you can see on screen, I think it's absolutely clear from the numbers, just how many more minutes we're all spending in Microsoft Teams. So more than 5 billion daily meeting minutes are recorded every day. And I expect that number will have increased as well, actually. And what this means is if you're spending all day in meetings, you've actually got no time to be productive. You've got no time for deep, focused concentration or thinking. You've got no time for creativity. And the longer that this goes on, the bigger impact this is going to have on us. And if we look at some of the actual stats behind this and understand the impact of remote work a little bit more, nearly 60% of people report feeling less connected to their colleagues, to their teammates than they did before COVID and before we all went into lockdown. Since the pandemic started, we've got, on average, 55% more meetings in our diary. And for those of us who already had a really busy diary, that is just an unsustainable increase. 1/3 of people working remotely say that the lack of separation between their work and personal life is negatively impacting their well-being. And a staggering 70% of us are reporting higher stress levels and 40% experiencing decreased mental health as well. So this is a real problem. Now, it's a problem on a global scale, and the World Health Organization actually flagged burnout as a cause for global concern recently. This is something that we collectively all need to work together to solve. And it starts on the individual level, the organization level, right the way through to, the tools and the platforms and the things that our software providers can give to us that can help us manage this a little bit more easily. And what I'm going to show you today are just a few tools that can help. Now, as I mentioned at the start, these tools are within the Microsoft 365 platform. But it's worth noting that across other productivity platforms as well, there will be similar tools that you can use in similar ways to achieve the same outcomes. And the things that I'm going to show you, the tips that I'm going to share, they're not only technology tips. Some of them are process things. Some of them are things that you can do and that you can put in place to start protecting your time a little bit more. And by taking some of these steps to protect your time, what that will help you do is supercharge your productivity and become more creative as well, by reducing some of the mental pressures. So the things that we're going to look at today, we're going to look at some of the things within Microsoft Teams, and we're going to look at Viva Insights, which is a very new product that's only become available recently. We're going to look at Microsoft To Do, and we're going to look at some things that you can do in Outlook as well. And some of the tips that I'm going to share actually cross multiple of these tools. So without any further ado, let's get into some of the tips and tricks. Now, the first thing, and a personal favorite of mine, I think I'm quite well known within my organization for banging on about this quite a lot. Book shorter meetings. I'm sure you've all felt the pain of being in back-to-back meetings where, you know, one meeting finishes and then you're straight into the next and then the next, and you're constantly having to switch context and focus. And you're expected to start the meeting knowing exactly what it is you're talking about and remembering everything from the last time that you all got together. Back-to-back meetings can be exhausting, and you know they don't even build in time for you to go to the bathroom or go grab a drink, or check in on the people who you live with if you're living with family or friends. And you can manage this automatically. So Outlook has capability to allow you to automatically set default meeting lengths to be different to the standard 30-minute blocks. And what this can allow you to do is to start to build in breaks. So if your meeting is less than half, if you want to book a half an hour meeting, you could set the default time to 25 minutes. So that builds in a little 5-minute gap. And then what I do for meetings that are an hour or more, I typically set them to end 15 minutes early. So what was previously a 60-minute meeting would now actually be 45 minutes. And what this starts to do is to just build little gaps into your day that can give you some space to, you know, recharge briefly, get away from your desk. And what I see in meetings is they will naturally expand to fill the time that's available. So since introducing this, I haven't seen any negative impact from having 15 minutes less for an hour meeting, for example. Having less time just makes you more focused on actually achieving the outcome. So this is a really, really easy way you can start to protect some of your time. And what I would say is that if you do use this, stick to it. And if your colleagues are sending you shorter meeting invites, stick to that as well. Stick to the end time that you set this in your diary. Because one thing that I do see happening when shorter meetings are booked is that people just naturally assume that they're scheduled to run till, you know, 1:30 or on the hour, and will keep going anyway. So respect people's time, respect the meeting end time, and use this to just get a little bit of time back. And the way that you set this is to go into Outlook, go to File, go to Options, and then click on the calendar settings. And as you can see on the image that we've got on screen, under calendar options, you've got the setting to end appointments early. And in there, you can go and choose the end time that works for you. Now, number 2, schedule and manage leave in advance. This sounds like a bit of a no-brainer, really. We all typically know when we're going on holiday or taking time out of the home office. You set your out of office, you put your holiday request in. But actually, one of the really great things within Outlook is that you can actually use it to automatically manage your time out of the office. So you can start to manage that in advance. Now in Outlook, if you go to the ribbon, you'll see this Insights button at the top. And when you click that, it comes up with several insights, actually. It pulls out things that you should be doing from your email. But for the purposes of this, we're going to focus on planning your time away. So it brings up the insights in like a bar down the side of the screen. And if you've got leave scheduled, plan your time away will be the first one. And when you click into that, it then actually starts to give you options that you can use to manage your time away. So it will let you automatically schedule your out of office in advance, for example. So you don't need to worry about that. It will help you draft a note to the common people that you collaborate with to let them know that you're going to be away. And because it knows who you're emailing, it knows who you're in meetings with, it knows who your network is. So it's able to identify this and help you manage that time out of the office really easily. It will also automatically help you decline or cancel meetings that are scheduled during a period of leave, which is really helpful. And the last great thing that it helps you do is book focus time, both before and after you're out of the office. And what this essentially gives you is a space that is booked out in your diary, where your profile will set to do not disturb, and where you can actually focus on finishing off the to-do items that you might have before you go out on leave. So it's a really, really helpful way to manage time out of the office. Now, one thing that I should note is that you can only manage one period of leave at once. So I was sharing this to some colleagues internally, and I had someone reach out to me because I think in the run-up to Christmas, they had a couple of different periods of leave. This will only help you manage the period of leave that is closest to you. So once you come back in the office, then you can start to repeat this for the following one. Number 3, one that's very dear to my heart: run more effective meetings. We've already talked about the fact that we're all in far more meetings than I think anybody ever intended that we should be. And I think sometimes when you get an invite to a meeting, there is a little bit of FOMO, so fear of missing out. People don't like to feel that that they are missing out. But a really important question to ask is, are you needed for that meeting? Are you the right person? And for the person who's actually setting up the meeting, I think there are a few things that you can do to make sure that you are having a meeting that is effective, that achieves the outcome that you're trying to achieve, and that also respects the fact that everybody else is super busy and has really busy diaries. So have a clearly defined agenda and define what success looks like for the meeting, and circulate this ahead of time as well, so that people have got time to prepare. Invite the right people. You don't need a cast of thousands. You just need the people who are required to make the decision or achieve the goal that you're trying to do. And if there are people who are interested, who need to be informed of the outcome, you can circulate all of that afterwards. But invite the right people and make sure that you've got the right voices in the room. Manage the time and stay on topic as well. So quite often when you've got a good discussion going, other things will come up that are off the agenda that are interesting and useful, but actually may not be relevant to everybody in the meeting. So if something does come up, park that for discussion later to allow you to stay on topic and really achieve the goal of that meeting. And make sure that you finish on time as well. Like we've already said, people have got lots of meetings. We're trying to build in breaks. We're trying to protect people's time. So make sure that you stay on time. And then at the end, make sure that you're assigning actions, you're capturing notes, things have got, owners, deadlines, and that you've got a real plan for any follow-up that's needed. Number 4, manage your personal tasks with To-Do. Now, Microsoft To-Do is an app that comes with the Microsoft 365 platform that is absolutely super from both a personal and a work perspective. And for those who are familiar with things like Todoist, it essentially works in very much the same way. So you can manage your tasks with To-Do. And it's super easy to build different lists. You can have each item on the to-do list can have multiple steps as well, so you can track progress towards closing the final action. And what I'd really encourage you to do is to start your day. So the first thing that you do when you log on, start your day by building out your day in To-Do. So what are the things that you want to achieve today? And be intentional. Really think about the time that you have available, that you're not in meetings, and be realistic about what you will complete that day. And then as you go through the day, you've got the satisfaction of being able to tick things off and mark them as completed, which is, it's emotionally rewarding and makes you feel like you are being more productive, and sometimes helps you realize just how much you are actually getting done as well. And then at the end of the day, you can ensure that any tasks that are not completed are rolled forward to future days. And it has the ability to, to set due dates, to build out reminders, and all of that really, really good stuff. Number 5. So this isn't a productivity tip. This is something that I'd encourage you all to go do, and then we're going to show you why this will help you be more productive. So Viva Insights is part of the new Microsoft Viva employee experience platform that Microsoft launched just last month. And it's a tool that will provide you with personal insights that will help you strengthen the connections that you've got, and will automatically help you protect your time as well. Now, across Microsoft Viva, there are other modules in addition to Viva Insights, which are either available now or which will be coming out, that will also help from a productivity perspective as well. But for the purposes of this, we're just going to look at Viva Insights and how this will help you on a personal level. So to add Viva Insights to Teams, you can go to the left-hand rail, click the three dots, and then search for Insights in the app. And as you can see in the image that we've got on screen, I've actually added this already. So this is visible as an app for me. And you can pin this so that you can find it more easily as well. And then once you've added this, what does that give you? Well, on a personal view, it will give you two different views, one for staying connected, one to protect your time. And as you can see on the screen, it will automatically look in your diary for gaps that you have, and it will suggest times where you could book focus time. And what that will do is stop people dropping in last minute meetings. It will set your status to do not disturb when you're in that focus time period. And it will start to give you time to actually focus on getting your to-do list done instead of actually being in a meeting and talking to someone. So it's incredibly powerful. And I'd highly recommend you go start using this now. The other thing that Viva Insights will do, again, pulling the same information that Outlook Insights pulls when it's looking at who you need to inform about annual leave, it will help you stay connected with collaborators. So what this does, it will show you outstanding things in your emails, whether that's emails from important contacts, whether it is documents that you haven't opened and read yet, whether it is commitments that you've made and it doesn't think you've done. And it will flag meeting invites you've not responded to yet. So it's really starting to pull from your inbox. It's pulling the important things out of that noise and saying, here are the things that we think you need to do to stay connected. These are the important actions. These are the important documents or items. And what you can do is work through the list, and you can mark things as read, you can mark things as done. If it's incorrectly flagging things as a task, you can say it's not a task. You can respond to meeting invites from directly within Viva Insights in Teams. So it's super powerful. It helps you stay connected and make sure that you're not missing important things or things from important people. And over the course of the next few weeks and months, new features will be coming to Viva Insights as well. So Microsoft have announced an integration with Headspace, for example. There will be new features called the virtual commute, which will allow you to have intentional periods of focus before or after work, potentially for meditation or for going through the to-do list. There's tons and tons of great stuff that will be coming into this app. So, I'd highly encourage you to go get the app, go and take a look at what it can do, and keep an eye out for some of the new things coming later this year. Another really great one that you could do. Now, this has been around for a while, but a lot of people don't know about this. So you can sign up to calendar.help. So you can see the URL in the image, https calendar.help. You can go there and put in your work email address. And what this will then allow you to do is to use the magic of Cortana within Outlook to schedule emails. And the way that you do this is email Cortana at calendar.help. And you can add Cortana in copy. So I could email you just in reply to a normal conversation, and then add a line at the end saying, Cortana, please book a 30-minute meeting as soon as possible. And Cortana is able to understand natural language. So Cortana then picks that email up and will contact you and say, have you got any times that work, or some words to that effect. And we'll work with you to find a time that works. And then once that has been done, it will look in my diary for a time that's available and send a meeting invite to both of us. So that reduces the need for diary ping pong, as I like to call it, where people email backwards and forwards, proposing alternate times that, that don't work. Just let Cortana take care of that for you. And the other benefit of using Cortana is actually you could replace some of your fixed recurring meetings with flexible meetings. So, if you're like me, you'll have tons of fixed meetings that happen every week or every month in your diary. So even if I go like 6 months in front, I'd say probably 25% of my diary looks like it's taken already. And what this means is that it hampers your ability to be agile and flexible when you're looking to schedule other meetings. So I'd highly recommend going and maybe cancelling some of those fixed meetings and using Cortana to send flexible meeting invite requests instead. So the way to do this, if I've got 3 people in my team that I want to meet with on a regular basis, I can email those people with Cortana on copy and put Cortana, find 60 minutes for us to meet every week or every 2 weeks or every month. And what Cortana will do is, again, go out to all of the attendees and just look for a time that works. And it will schedule the first meeting. And then after that first meeting has taken place, it will then look to schedule the next meeting. So, if this meeting's normally scheduled at 3 o'clock on a Monday, rather than it being 3 o'clock every Monday, what will happen is after one of them has taken place, it will look into the next week or the next time period for a time that works. So it could actually be Tuesday at 10 a.m. the next time. And what this means is that your diary becomes much more flexible. And if you need to move the meeting, you can just reply to the scheduling email from Cortana with a natural language note, just asking for that to be rescheduled. Number 10, flag emails for follow-up and then manage them in To-Do. Now, we've already had a quick look at Microsoft To-Do and how you can use that to build out your to-do list for the day. And the really great thing about the tools within Microsoft 365 is that they're all integrated. So when you flag an email in Outlook, that will automatically appear in To-Do. And actually, all of your tasks from To-Do will appear in tasks in Teams as well, but we're not going to touch on that one today. So once your flagged emails are popping into To-Do, from there, you can actually add them to your day. You can get reminders and you can mark them as completed in To-Do once they've done. And if your email has maybe 5 actions within it, once it's in To-Do, you can actually add steps to that action as well. So that will allow you to track progress towards completion rather than having to wait until you've done everything before you can tick anything off. So this is a really easy way to start bringing everything together and being able to, start to flag things for follow-up in one application and have them automatically come through into your task management solution. Number 11. Now, I did say that some of the things I'm going to show you are not necessarily technology related, and I think this is a really key one, but it's one, if you want to protect your time and if you want to become more productive and give yourself more space to be creative, it's really important that you learn to say no. And I know it can be hard to start with to do things like challenge meeting requests, but if we all start doing it, it will help people get into good habits. So challenge meeting requests. Are you actually required? Is there an agenda? What is the purpose of the meeting? Do you need to be there? And start to push back. Protect your lunch breaks as well. I highly recommend booking an hour at lunch every day, going away from your desk, getting outside, having a screen break, and then coming back refreshed and reinvigorated for the afternoon. And keep it as a firm boundary, unless it's an emergency, really, really protect that break, because it's absolutely key to, to being engaged and being creative and actually contributing properly. And in a similar note, push back on meetings outside of your working day as well. I've seen meetings going like at the crack of dawn or later in the evening. And it is difficult. We're already seeing encroachment onto our personal time because people spend so long in meetings that actually they're having to spend time in their evenings to do the actions and the work that was assigned to them. So that's one thing we need to push back on. But absolutely, if we're starting to have meetings outside of your working day as well, it just becomes an impossible situation. So it's really important to push back and be responsible for establishing your own boundaries as well. We really need to get some healthier boundaries in place to help with some of the figures that I showed earlier in the slide around how stressed people are feeling, and the fact that a third of people feel like that there isn't really a boundary anymore. And don't let people encroach on your focus time either. It's sometimes booking like 2 hours focus time every day can protect some of the time in your diary. But it's super easy when people are pressuring you for a meeting to just think, well, I don't have anything else to do, then I'm just going to let's have this call, let's just get it sorted out. But actually, you need time for proper thinking, concentration. You need to kind of really get into the flow of creativity. And that doesn't happen in 5-minute gaps between meetings. You need to have the space for that. So it's crucial that you allow yourself the time for it, and you protect that time as well. And then the last tip that I've got for you today is just to be really intentional about ending your day. And this could be, this could be as simple as cleaning up your physical and digital workspace. Now, with us all working remotely, you've got some people who have home offices. You've got some people who sit with a laptop at their kitchen table. You've got some younger people who might still be living with parents who are literally sat on their bed with a laptop. It doesn't matter which one of these you fall into, but being intentional about ending your day and either closing the office door, putting the laptop away, tidying up, and actually getting into a routine that says, right, work is over. I'm now going into my personal time. And this could include, marking off things on your to-do list, and actually, looking back at what you've done, closing everything down, closing down all the tabs in your browsers that you don't need anymore, and that kind of thing. Review your completed tasks for the day. And this isn't just reviewing the things that you've completed. I think it's important as well to look at what you said you were going to put on your to-do list. And there may be things that you haven't completed, so you can put those back into the pending list and pick them up another day. But it's really important to recognize what you've actually achieved. I think sometimes we all feel like we're just constantly running uphill and never getting anywhere in the situation that we're in at the moment. So taking a moment at the end of your day to look back and reflect on what you have done can be a really, really key way to to kind of get the mental benefits from a job well done, and from recognizing what you have actually achieved. Start to confront the things that you've put off as well. Have you got a frog in your to-do list? Is there something that you just keep putting off because it's either a really complex task or it's something really unenjoyable? And start to just make a plan for them. I'm hopefully you've all heard of the frying eat a frog. The idea is you just get it over and done with. So look at the things that you keep putting off and try to understand why, and break them down into smaller tasks if that's what's needed to get them done, and make a plan to just get them out of the way as quickly as possible. I'd also recommend setting a time to end your workday as well. And this could be flexible, but set a time for each day and stick to it. And you could support this through arranging something for after the time. So if you plan to finish at 5:30, for example, you could arrange to call a friend or a family member at that time, or to go for a walk or get out of the house or something like that. Something that will get you away from your desk and will actually help you put that break between work and home. And be kind to yourself as well. The situation we're in at the moment is not easy. So be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself for not finishing everything. We're not superhuman. We're all working we're all working at home after 12 months now of pretty much almost constant global lockdown. And the emotional stress and pressure from that is hard enough as it is, without you being hard on yourself for not ticking off everything that was on your to-do list. So be kind to yourself. It's really important. And then, like I said at the start of this slide, physically put away your laptop, close your office door, emotionally detach. And you can do this digitally as well. So you can use things like quiet hours in Teams to stop it giving you notifications after a certain time. So you could set this up so that on Saturday and Sunday, you don't get any alerts. On Monday to Friday, you don't want any alerts after 6 o'clock, for example. Because statistics show you actually, you know, if your boss messages you and you pick that up, say at 7 o'clock, you don't actually need to do anything with it other than read it for it to start making you feel stressed. So even just picking up your phone, you know, and looking at the message actually can bring you back into that work way of thinking and start to add feelings of stress and pressure. So using things like quiet hours can really help with that detaching from work at the end of the day. So just a quick summary. Now, I think we all probably feel this, but it's true. Working remotely is hard, and there are lots of simple tools and tips that you can use to manage your time more effectively. What I've shown you today is a little bit of a whistle-stop tour through some of the tools, some of the features and tips that you can use within Microsoft 365 to help manage your time more effectively. But actually, some of the principles around having your own boundaries and saying no, managing your to-do list, they're not just Microsoft tips. They'll work with whichever platform you're using as well. And I think the key thing is you need to enforce your own boundaries as well. We all need to put our own mental health and our own well-being first. Particularly, I know a lot of working mums who, since we went into lockdown, they've essentially been pulling double shifts. They're trying to juggle the pressure of all of these online meetings and the increase in work and the pressure from working remotely, with also having to homeschool their kids, and pick up all of the chores at home and all of that stuff as well. And it's just, I can't even imagine the amount of pressure, so enforcing your own boundaries is absolutely key from a mental health and well-being perspective. And if you start using some of the tips I've shared today, it will help give you a little bit more control. It will help you protect your time, protect your diary, protect your mental health and well-being, and will get you well on your way to being a productivity superstar. Now, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. And like I said at the start, I'd love for you to reach out to me. You can connect to me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Twitter, take a look at my blog. And if you've got any questions about any of the things that I've talked about today, just reach out to me on one of those platforms, and I'd love to hear from you. And I'd also love to hear about some of the challenges that you've had with working remotely as well. All right. Thanks very much. Bye.